no jet airliner taking me too far away or taking my love away from me, etc., man. How many of us actually realize in our conscious present heart that, all this stuff with airplanes, man, from the Wright brothers' first flight, etc., on through to the big old jet airliner that reminds you of what it feels like to be an angel flying in the sky so high, etc., all of that exists in our experiential reality to kind of cue us up into a far more expansive way of flying. In other words, a giving up of the time and distance concept. But first we had to learn and remember what it was like to fly, to cover distance in a little quicker way when there isn't all the geography in your way, the rivers and the cliffs and the mountains and the prairies and the floods and the bogs and all that kind of stuff in your way. When all you got to do is go up there in the atmosphere and fly along, man, you get there a lot quicker and you enjoy the flight too. It's not as much fun as walking through and experiencing all of the nature there, but it's very similar. You just get it in a real quick way instead of a slow, oozing kind of way. Well, see, it's also another way of elevating humankind's conception of time, so we could even conceive of time speeding up. So we start with these real primitive airplanes that can barely go 15, 20 miles an hour and, quite often kill the person that got to fly it just for a few seconds because they weren't too reliable. But from that came better and faster and faster and faster until we could conceive of a time and a speed where, you exceed time and you no longer live in it, It's amazing what this is all leading to, the conceptualization. See, and the reason we did it like in airplanes and so forth was because they're very similar to birds, We could accept the fact that birds could fly because we see them all around us. So something with wings made by humankind, finally after all these generations of not being able to leave the ground, all at once there it is. What does that tell you? That's a significant turn in reality. That's a step that humanity wasn't going to take for a long, long time, except that they did. We did. Something happened. There was some interference, some elevation of the human consciousness so that you could conceive of flying. And, even though we've ached since we were, first brought into this organic reality and made to walk upon the earth and not fly, well, we never forgot we knew how to fly, and there was always a certain grievance we had with the reality around us. It says, you fucking suck, and I want to fly. I want to rise above you, take you with me so I can appreciate your love too. But I don't want to live in this goo down here. I want to live above all that shit, back where the angels live, so we don't have to go through all this earthly crap. All the torments that go with it. We just live up there in our cloud cities, man. Share joy and love and make creation by making love one way or another. It doesn't have to be that old-fashioned way. In fact, most often it's not because, spirits are far more elevated than anything a dumbed-down human being could conceive of here in this 3D reality for the longest of times. Just like we couldn't conceive of ourselves flying for the longest of times, and therefore we did not. Something happened back there 150, 200 years ago that reconceived all of humanity's conscious presence and swung it in a new direction. People like Newton, who's grievously picked on now, well, his ideas were so novel in their day that, he was a heretic. Did he get killed? I don't remember, but a lot of them did before him, I'm sure, Galileo. Shit. It's like, a sad thing. But all of a sudden humanity could start to conceive of itself flying. Now, I remember when I took up hang gliding as a young man. I didn't do it for, too long, maybe a year, I don't know, year and a half, something like that. Fun, though. I got to fly up tall mountains and stuff. And I remember feeling the ancestors with me when I could finally get up there, get past my own mistakes and, errors, and get that thing flying. And not make any more of them while I was flying. I could feel the ancestors with me. Happy that finally, after all these generations, human beings in this 3D reality could fly on the air like a bird does, in a hang glider. It's the most natural form of flying and one of the greatest senses of peace I'd known up until that time in my younger days. It was around age 30. So you know it was kind of a turning point and a turning point in experience. But I felt all of those ancestors and their fascination with flight. I felt the same thing when I've been flying along in jet airliners as a paid passenger, etc. You know, but you know what it's like to live as an angel does when you're flying along in that kerosene can at 32,000 feet, see. We've been able to reconceive of our whole reality because we were able to achieve something removed from the ground that wasn't rooted down in the blood and guts reality that we've so long forced to live in. Pure torment for hearts like ours, yet we had to learn that organic way so we could root ourselves down in it, what? Orgasmically, so we could fly forever. And we'd never have to be separate or apart from any of our creation again, not ever. We're a lusty mother who does not want to let go of any part of our creation, yet we want it to expand and experience itself to the utmost. So we get the best of all of it. We do what human beings could never do. We resolve the frustration. We live the love on all levels, in all ways. The mother is allowed to experience all of our feelings, as we are hers too. See, it's the same thing. We each have our aspects of it, our individuation in it, but it's the same experience and energy going on in the larger way as well as in each life living it. See, that's where the orgasm comes from. The expansive one I'm talking about. Oh, quit being embarrassed and get real. Come on. It's the deal. Take a look. Understand. Rock and roll. Let go of the shameful heart. Give up the false pretenses of love you've lived in. You're not a stupid SOB, and never will you be. You're the most intelligent and divine heart the universe could ever create. Poetically so, right there, you, heart and soul, united in this experience of love we call living life. It's your turn now. Now, because you could conceive of flying, you can conceive of being all of this creation in flight. In the orgasmic rooted feeling we do unite and become the heart of love, spreading itself across creation quite joyously, wouldn't you say? Oh, the lessons of love we learn day to day, even from things like a big old jet airliner. Cut can hardly be beat, can it, you know? Well, just wait and see what comes next to you, babies, because, wow, it's going to be more than what you ever dreamed of. Because now, finally, you get to live it, feel it, in a way that you can trust it, and lay to rest all torments. To rise above the torments, appreciate the torments you're in, and let it go. That's where we begin, eh?